My video for April 13th, 2018 is entitled, Avoiding Negativity Means Living in Denial. Focus on the positive is the maxim of so many friends in my spiritual community. Of course, they don't recognize this as denial. In the small group meeting I attended last night, I was silenced when bringing up the right of self-defense to keep and bear arms. The critic does not come from the United States and does not understand the importance of this natural human right in a world where only government-sanctioned individuals, like police and military, are legally allowed to bear arms. Of course, criminals operate illegally anyway, no matter what the so-called law is. As I've said before, if all the decent people in the United States were disarmed, the people like me who try to warn others about the crimes against humanity by our alleged leaders would either be imprisoned or killed. That would be the final step in totally removing our right to free expression of ideas that do not fit the agenda of the establishment. It breaks my heart to have friends verbally attack me in their attempt to shut me up. Sadly, my only choice is to withdraw from such groups. We were discussing in the group last night the Anastasia books, which I've mentioned in other videos, and the time when they came to take her back to Moscow for observation. And of course, she resisted, and one of the guards tried to fire shots at her to, I guess, kill her. And one bullet got through and grazed the side of her head, and the rest of the bullets hit the shield that she had put up, and they bounced off and just fell to the ground. It's an amazing story. You can believe that's fiction or fact as you wish. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm telling you that was the story as told in the Anastasia books. And we were discussing Anastasia. And of course, the right to bear arms came up in the meeting, and I spoke up as a defender of the Second Amendment. And the lady in the group who actually hosts the meeting shut me up, basically, didn't want to hear that because that's considered negative. And this is the point that I'm trying to make in this video. What we think of as negative means we've made a judgment that some statement is not true. We don't want to believe it. We don't want to face it because to us, it's a negative statement. So it makes us the judge and the jury of everyone else's communication, setting up a wall between us and them. It creates the us and them. I have always tried to build bridges, as I've said in so many of my videos for such a long time. I have over 2,600 videos. It's what, 2,650 or something like that? I don't even know the exact number. I should have looked it up before I started this, but I didn't. This is the first time in all of those videos that I'm actually going to scrap the video that I made earlier today and put this one in its place, so that the one that I made earlier today will not go online, because I felt that I needed to take some of the edges off as best I could. Because these people that believe this are not bad people, but they are people that have come under the brainwashing of the elite establishment, if you will, that wants to silence anything that reveals their agenda, anything that speaks against the idea that they are the boss and we, the people, have to listen to whatever they tell us. Well, I don't buy into that, folks. In case you haven't noticed in all of my videos, I don't buy into that. I don't care who's putting it out. That is false news, fake news. It's not about freedom of speech. It's not about, freedom of speech is our natural right, as I said in the blurb. Freedom of religion is our natural right. To worship or not to worship, that's our right. We can make up our own minds on those things. But the dictum of all religions is to love one another. And we can't love one another if we try to shut the others up and don't listen to them. We have to develop a way to make peaceful communication with, especially with those that are come up in a different environment, have different, are different heritage. You know, they may be different color skin or different nationalities, different languages. We need to try to make bridges. And that's what I've been trying to do my whole life. And to be, even to have the attempt to silence me causes a lot of consternation on my part. I could not sleep. Over 2.5 hours after I went to bed last night, I was still awake, tossing and turning and trying to figure out how to fix this situation, because I love the people that are in that group and in the my spiritual community. But I do not want to be silenced. So I have no choice, I feel, but to withdraw from such groups that do not allow free expression of ideas, and this idea that that anybody thinks, well, that's positive, but that's negative, and if we feed the negative, it's going to grow, and we only feed the positive. You know, what you focus on expands. That's the spiritual dictum that's been forced down our throats, but it's a controlled dictum. It's not truth. The truth dictum is, as Jesus supposedly said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And someone added, a very wise person, but first it'll piss you off. The pissed off part is the negative part, but it's the part we have to deal with, just like when we have symptoms of a serious problem in our bodies. We don't resolve the issue by ignoring it. My uncle, who had watched my father die after numerous surgeries, he had some of the similar problems. He never sought treatment and died suddenly. And there's been other examples that I've known of people in my life that have tried to focus only on the positive, and they've ignored things that were detrimental to their own life force, and they ended up dying prematurely, where they might have been able to find some remedy. Now, to me, the remedy for most disease is to make the body alkaline. Will that be foolproof, and will it work every time? I don't know. But I do my best to try to keep my diet, and especially, I don't drink anything but water most of the time. And I make the water alkaline so that it makes my body alkaline, and it gives my body a chance to ward off any pathogens that might enter my system. But folks, when it comes to our social contract, when it comes to mixing with other people, we have to be open and allowing free discussion. When we step in and condemn somebody for speaking something, I wasn't arguing. In fact, I just backed off and I didn't even say anything. That's why I'm making the second video on the same subject today, because I felt I was a little bit too harsh in the first video. I want to build bridges. So I don't know where this is all going to come out. I don't know how it's going to end, but I have to withdraw from those groups, because I cannot be in a group where I'm restricted as to what I can and cannot contribute to the group, especially when it's an open discussion. So on that note, I leave you to think about what I'm saying. And remember, truth is never negative. It simply is truth. Thank you for listening, and namaste.